Hello, this afternoon, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan is expected to announce a major wage increase for DDOT bus drivers. We've been listening. It just got started. Let's go ahead and take you there now.
Making the quarterly attendance bonus, basically, this is going to be an $8,000 raise for 75% of the operators. This is something we've been wanting to do for a long time. What it means is if you are starting out as an operator, you are making $16.15, you'll immediately go to $19.15. And if you make the quarterly attendance bonus, you'll be making the equivalent of $22 an hour starting out. And for those who have been here 4 years and are at the max, they go immediately from $22.61 an hour to $25.61. And if you make the attendance bonus, you're over $28 an hour with benefits. Our contract did not expire till July 1, 2025. It is extremely unusual to open a contract for a raise in the middle. But I think this reflects the value of the operators and the commitment that I think ATU and the DDOT leadership have to providing reliable service. And I want to say thank you to ATU President Shatron Collier. He's been advocating for this for a while, but our conversations are much broader than pay raise. Anybody out there who suggests the problem with DDOT was just a pay raise doesn't understand how a transit system operates. We have to work harder to reduce accidents in this system. We have got to improve security on the buses. That means more effective transit police, as every one of the operators and our passengers can tell you. We've got to improve the physical condition of our shelters and our bus stops. We have to improve customer service, getting on and off the buses, and we have to improve our on-time performance. And many times that's not the operators, that's the maintenance department. All of those things have to happen if we are going to provide the kind of first-class service the residents of Detroit deserve. But you can't address any of these issues if you do not have a reliable first-class workforce of bus operators. These individuals are the face of our organization. If the bus shows up late because the scheduler did a poor job, nobody phones DDOT headquarters to complain to the scheduler. They complain to the operator who's in front of them. If the heat isn't working right, nobody calls up and complains to the mechanic in the garage. The person who takes the grief, right, is the operator who is there, and the raises today reflect the value that they provide to the system. Now, the emphasis on attendance bonus, which is something I believe strongly in, something I used at the Detroit Medical Center to turn a broken culture around there. But it is working now at DDOT. If you don't have more than 3 unexcused absences in a quarter, you get $1,500 at the end of the quarter. At this point, our operators, as I say, 75% of them are making that check, because what we want to do is build a culture of reliability where the operators show up as scheduled and the buses show up as scheduled. And the two of those are tied together. I will advocate for this, as President Collier knows, all day long. I do believe that operators who show up for work every day have enormous value to the system. When you have the same operator on the same route, your on-time performance is better, your experience is better, you know your customers better, and we have made it a point to make that commitment. And so for anybody out there who's thinking they might have the makeup to be a bus operator, it's not an easy job. You got to want to deal with people in all circumstances. It's not an easy job. But if you think you've got that makeup, and you're the kind of person who wants to get out of bed and show up for work every day, you're going to start out at $19 an hour with benefits, and if you're showing up for work, $22 an hour with benefits. It's a good career. Now, I'm pleased with the fact that tomorrow we are graduating 30 operators from the academy, and they will be badged on the street. We have another 55 in the academy, but we will be hiring 100 more in the course of 2024. We are going to get the kind of reliability that we should have. A little over a year ago, I stood with Chief White and the police unions, and we announced we were giving the officers $10,000 pay raises. And you saw violent crime drop at a record rate in 2023. It didn't drop just because we gave the raises. It dropped because the officers, the police chief, and our partners work together with a strategy that says, now we have the workforce we want, let's deploy it in a way that has the maximum benefit. And they proved what could be accomplished. I am expecting the same kind of improvement out of the performance of DDOT in 2024. So later this month, we're going to move from 130 buses on the street to 150. You're going to see improvements in on-time performance by spring. You're going to see continual improvement as 2024 goes along. And the reason that I'm confident of that is with our leadership. You may remember it was exactly a year ago when we put out a new paratransit system. And there wasn't anything more dysfunctional in this city than the paratransit system we used to operate. I had a plan to restructure it, bring the dispatching and the scheduling in-house, put Michael Staley in charge. As you might remember, City Council didn't approve that plan. I implemented it in January by an emergency order. And within a matter of months, Mr. Staley had our paratransit system operating at above 95% on-time performance. Today, Michael Staley is in charge of all of DDOT. And I am again saying to him, you've got the resources that you need now. And now I see two council members here. I'm expecting, hopefully, prompt approval because this contract is going to have to be approved by City Council. And I'm hopeful this time we will have the full support of council in this action because we have, I think, the right leadership. I know we've got the right union leadership, the right commitment of our professional operators. And 2024, I expect to be the year of no more excuses, improved DDOT performance. With that, I'm going to introduce the person who's going to be responsible for it, Director Michael Staley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are two people I need to thank today for making this situation happen. Obviously, Mayor Duggan, who was the driving force behind the Memorandum of Understanding and who took the unusual, if not unprecedented, step of opening up labor negotiations well in advance of the expiration date of the current collective bargaining agreement. The other person is President Shertrone Collier, ATU Local 26, who drove a very hard bargain, but always bargained in good faith. This Memorandum of Understanding will provide DDOT with an indispensable tool in recruiting and retaining those individuals who have the hardest job at DDOT, the transit equipment operator. On a final note, it's a rare occurrence where an entity, whether it's public or private, has the ability to change the quality of life of its employees. This MOU has the potential to do exactly that. Thank you very much. And with that, I'll introduce President Collier, ATU Local 26.
Thank you, Mr. Staley. So first of all, there's a lot of things that can go around in bringing this situation to where it is today. But first and foremost, it would be Mayor Duggan, who has shown a due diligence in taking up the mantle of making sure that the citizens of the city of Detroit receive the services that they so truly deserve. Mr. Staley and I also are working closely together, and there are a few other individuals who are key, including Todd Bennison and also the Labor Relations Director, Mr. Worthy. I'd like to thank all of you guys for providing my membership with the opportunity to do this. As Mr. Staley said, it's really unprecedented. I have currently been here 35 years. Something like this has never happened. But it sees that the mayor saw a need. He stepped up and addressed the needs not of just my membership, but of the everyday person out there catching the bus. And as Mr. Staley said, it will definitely improve the lives of my members, but also the person that's out there catching the bus. When you're standing out there, and believe me, I was born and raised in this city, I've stood in the bus stop and not have a bus come when it's 19 degrees outside. And when you finally see those lights coming, it looks like Jesus, believe me. When you can't feel your feet in your hands and you see that bus coming, it's such a joyous feeling. And so to know that the passengers now will have a more dependable schedule to count on. With this raise, it will improve definitely the attraction and retention of the operator that are currently here. And so once again, I just want to say thank you to all those who had a hand in making this happen. Thank you.
With that, I'd like to bring up an individual who has been a strong voice in advocating for the transit equipment operators. Shortly after I took over Paratransit, I became acquainted with a group of transit advocates who were interested in making sure that Paratransit became a better system, and it did. They have been no less diligent in their advocacy for pay raise for transit equipment operators. So with that, I'd like to introduce Michael Cunningham.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brother Cunningham. I've been doing this a long time, advocating for the passengers and the drivers. And it was so eloquently stated what it feels like for people to be waiting out at the bus stops. 8 years, I had a driver license, but I was on the buses for 8 years. Then I became a cab driver. So I'm still hearing the complaints. And the first thing I tell them, call your council person. I got a list of their phone numbers in the car laminated, so I give them that information or the mayor's office. Don't talk to the little guy. I'm gonna show you how to talk to power. And out of that, I started giving out bus tickets and hand warmers at the bus stops. Kind of just showing love to people that feel like they're not loved, that feel like they're just left behind. They waited an hour, hour and a half. Love is an action. In fact, love is an action work. And I thank the council. I see Councilwoman Johnson. You got on the bus with me last year, like a little over a year and a half. And I know that the other council people have gotten on the coaches, and they've done what they can. And I hope that they approve this, and I'm sure they will. And I do appreciate Councilman Young. Appreciate Councilman Durhall, and it's my shirt says, God raised the wage. And so God raised the wage. And so I want you all to continue to pray for the system and all those that are in authority, and that this is a start, which I see improvement to come, to retain your drivers or TEOs and to recruit new ones. A lot of folks ain't seen $19 an hour and paid training. Keywords, paid training to get your CDLB. So I really think that increased $3 for the trainees is going to make a huge difference in bringing in new drivers. A sense of urgency. I appreciate the Mayor Duggan and Mr. Collier, and thanks for everybody who played a part, having compassion for those taking the bus. It's cold outside now, so thank you. And they need mechanics. Their number is 313-933-1300. 313-933-1300. 313-933-1300. That's DDOT's phone number. Holla at them.
All right, let's have another hand for Brother Cunningham, who's been an active advocate for the men and women who are out there waiting for the bus service. And I also want to acknowledge the contribution of Deputy Mayor Todd Bettison, who's sitting quietly in the back. When he became deputy mayor, he said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "You have two assignments, the fire department and DDOT." He said, "Can I go back to DPD?" But he's done an outstanding job with both, and he likes to stay in the background. But thank you, Todd Bettison, what you've done. We need 5 votes on City Council to get this approved. I see 3 council members in the room. Let's see if we can get off to a good start. If council members Young, Letitia Johnson, Fred Durhall, if you'd like to come up and say anything, please join us.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank Deputy Mayor Beddison. I also want to thank Interim Director Staley, as well as President Collier. This has been a long time in the making. And the reason why this is so important is because part of the reason why we got here was during the pandemic, you literally had bus drivers who were losing their lives in order to provide this service. I remember the story of one bus driver who he was letting people come on the bus and someone coughed in his face, spit on him. And later on that day, he died. And as a result, with the pandemic, we started having this shortage of drivers. And so for us to come from those dire times, for us to be where we're at here, paying these men and women what they have earned, having more bus drivers out in the street, that is a testament to the leadership of Mayor Duggan, to the leadership of me and my colleagues, and to the resilience of our citizens in this great city. And so it's my humble honor to be here, because now we're actually talking about not just in terms of the pullout rates on the route when it starts to when it ends. We're also talking about improving the fact that they're going to be coming here on time. And we've had advocates such as Brother Cunningham, who does have those numbers laminated. And I know, because he be calling me all the time. Like, who is this? Why do he keep calling me? Keep seeing the same number. But it's because of that advocacy, and because of that passion, and because they understand that the difference between having a bus driver come on time and not come on time is the difference between people either keep their jobs or not. People that have money in their pocket or not, put food on their table or not, keep roofs over their head or time during the housing crisis. And so I just want to thank them. I also think this represents the power of collective bargaining and what happens when labor and city comes together and negotiates for the greater good. So it's my humble honor to be a part of this. Mr. Mayor, I'm sure you can count on my vote and support. I will be supporting this along with my colleagues as well. So I just want to say thank you. I'm really humbled and honored to be here. This is what I got elected to do, is to go out there and to see those brothers and sisters that are struggling, that are hurting, and be able to make a difference. So I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor and a privilege to be here in support of the drivers, the operators with DDOT. Thank you to the administration, to the mayor, to President Collier, to all of you who have been involved in this process. I was a kid, too, in the city of Detroit who rode the bus every single day to Kettering High School, and can remember just how rambunctious we were. And so I know what you all deal with on a daily basis with the riders. We know that we need to offer competitive wages. We need to offer these incentives. And so earlier this year, or last year, we all had a conversation and we were talking about supporting you all. And so we're all really glad to see this day come. It's a great way to start the new year, right? And so we know that there are so many open positions that the mayor talked about. Reach out to your friends, to family members who may be looking for a job, because being on time, having the buses be on time is extremely important to all of our residents throughout the city of Detroit. And we want to make sure that we increase that 63% on-time rate that Brother Cunningham shares with us all the time. And Brother Cunningham always says, call the people in power. If you all know, he is a person in power, okay? I will tell you that he texted me about this press conference before I got a phone call about it. So he knew about it before I did. And so we appreciate your staunch advocacy, not only for the bus drivers, but also for the riders and the passengers in the city of Detroit, and you just passing out hand warmers and just supporting residents in the city. So we thank you for that. We thank all of you for your continued support. I know this is a job. A lot of times it's a thankless job, but we certainly do appreciate you, and we stand in support of you. And this is the way that we show our appreciation in saying thank you with the increase in wages and the incentives that are coming on board. Mr. Mayor, I don't think you'll have a problem with those 5 votes. I'm here to tell you. All right. Thank you all so much.
Well, good afternoon. This is an amazing day for me, and kind of just reminiscing how things move so fast and come fast forward. I feel like it was just 2 years ago when I stood with the mayor, and we were at one of my first press conferences. We were giving DDOT drivers a bonus. And I can remember at the time having the conversation with the mayor of how can we do something that's more permanent, and how can we move the city forward. He said it's going to take great collaboration between the city as well as the bus driver union. And today we see that coming into fruition as we stand here and talk about one of the biggest issues raised by our residents, our transportation system. When we look at cities across the nation, particularly big major cities, one thing that they have that helps move their cities forward is great transportation. And I visited many cities around this country and had the opportunity to be on some of their buses or their metro rails or whatever. And I've seen the differences between their culture and the culture here. I think the mayor really hit the nail on the head when he talked about the change in culture. And that starts with investing in the people who move the culture forward every single day. And so I am thankful to be here today, thankful for our DDOT bus drivers who make the sacrifice. My colleague articulated earlier about a bus driver during the time of COVID. And I'll say his name, Jason Hargrove, who was 50 years old, lost his life, who stood on the front line. And during the time of the pandemic, when folks still had to have transportation, he went to work, unfortunately lost his life. My thoughts and prayers still go out to his family. But this is something that our drivers go through every single day. And so we are appreciative of your service. You are frontline workers, and we want to show you that appreciation. As far as our residents are concerned, it was interesting to see the relationship between our residents as well as our drivers. Our residents don't necessarily blame the drivers for the buses not being on time. And so they are staunch advocates of raising the wage. So Brother Cunningham or Renard Mashunsky and a lot of these other advocates that come in front of City Council pushing for raises and better transportation, today is your day because you have spoken truth to power and you are seeing it happen here in action today. So God is good always. So God bless everyone. Thank you, Mayor Duggan. Thank you, Mr. Collier, as well as Deputy Mayor Bettison, for really listening to the residents, listening to council as well, because we address these issues every day and helping move our city forward while we continue to create a great transportation system here in the city of Detroit. Thank you.
Really pleased to hear the council members acknowledge Jason Hargrove, and President Collier and I will be to see you in the next few weeks for the kind of permanent honor that Jason Hargrove deserved, and I know we'll have your support on that as well. And with that, we'll take any questions. Yes, go ahead.
June Nickelbeard, president of AFSCME Local 214. I'm curious, I'm happy for the bus drivers, but I'm curious about the other people in the department that help make the system run. Operations employees that are responsible for the on-time performance. What about those people?
So the problem that I have anytime you give a raise to one group is we have, I think, 51 unions, and I got 50 other unions. And so what we have done is objectively look at where we are not compensating people in a way that fills vacancies. And 18 months ago, we couldn't fill police officer vacancies. Now we are not filling transit operator vacancies at the rate I would like. And we're looking at each individual classification. But the AFSCME contracts are on, I think their schedule is this year, isn't it? I don't know if Keith is here. But I think the AFSCME, are you still the union president? So you know, are you? Were you union president when I started? So if you're as effective as you were 10 years ago, I'm sure you're going to be just fine.
Mayor, it sounded like part of the issue was we were behind, the pay was behind the suburban neighbors and SMART. So how does this get us, in line with that, more competitive? And it sounds like SMART is also in negotiations for a contract. So if they, go up a certain amount, that still kind of hurt our position.
Yeah, we're not losing operators to SMART. Now, if you don't show up for work and you make $3 an hour less, the SMART offer may look attractive to you, and if some of those folks go over to SMART, so be it. But we've had extensive conversations with the union about issues far broader than pay raise. And you want to talk about security, transit police, maintenance, a whole scheduling. It's a whole lot of things. I am very confident that ATU Local 26 and our administration are aligned on fixing the reliability of the bus service. I would have never made an agreement on pay raises if I wasn't confident the union wasn't aligned on a commitment to service. There's no doubt nobody wants that service to be on time and reliable more than the operators who are out there every day. And so I feel really good about our direction. I wanted to say to people, when we gave a raise, you can expect service to improve in the next year, and I'm confident that that's what's going to happen.